state line from the Lincoln Project.
Driver's license, registration.
Here you go, sir. How's your day going?
That's your daughter?
Sure is.
Abigail, right?
How do you know her?
Were you about 8 weeks pregnant? So you've been spotting recently. You've had any cramps or nausea?
That's personal.
You've been taking your prenatal vitamins?
Excuse me?
Are you ticketing me for something?
Where are you heading, Abigail?
To go see my older sister, Natalie.
Well, that's strange. It says here that Natalie's at a concert in Dallas. And your navigation is set to a women's health clinic in one of those abortion states.
We have the right to travel.
Not anymore. Step out of the car.
Please, officer.
Both of you out now.
This is a really good ad. Holy shit, I can't believe I'm giving props to the fucking Lincoln Project.
You, sir, are under arrest for crossing state lines to obtain an abortion for a minor under your care. And you, young lady, well, you're under arrest for evading motherhood.
That's a good ad. Holy shit. Like, what the fuck? Shocking.
Abigail, right?
How do you know her?
Where are you?
They kind of ate, not gonna lie. Oh no, 100%. This was like not cringe. I can't believe I'm saying this is one of the first times where I've seen a Lincoln Project ad and I'm like, that's a banger, 10/10.
About 8 weeks pregnant? So you've been spotting recently. You've had any cramps or nausea?
That's personal.
You've been taking your prenatal vitamins?
Excuse me?
And your navigation is set to a women's health clinic in one of those abortion states.
We have the right to travel.
Not anymore. You, sir, are under arrest for crossing state lines to obtain an abortion for a minor under your care. And you, young lady, well, you're under arrest for evading motherhood.
All right, that was a new Lincoln Project.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. That had the vibes of one of those like travel advisory warnings that you see in like Europe and Australia and like Canada, where they'll be like, don't drink and drive. And then they'll straight up show like the scariest images of children being ruthlessly slaughtered by your vehicle. Like it had one of those, it had like the tone and the severity of like our European counterparts and the way that they do like public safety ads and shit. That was very good. That was very, very good. Shit was literally fucking A24 status.
Political ad that rolls out tomorrow on both digital and TV platforms. Back with my panel, Scott.
You know what I was wondering?
You know what I will say? I'll just say this about the ad. I mean, it's an example of how this issue is going to be presented to voters.
Well, I'm glad to see we have very serious people putting out very serious advertising. I mean, look, by the way, you make this?
I didn't make it, but I'm with the Lincoln Project, and I think it's going to be a very effective ad.
So when you watch
the problem with the unimaginable is it's difficult to imagine. And what you have here are these laws that are being passed. This actually has happened. I mean, they did criminalize someone going out of state in Ohio. And look, when you get these states that ban abortion, you know, they are going to track all this. When you make something a criminal, if you're a woman and you're using an app to track periods, that could become evidence.
Dude, he's such a bitch. Not Stuart Stevens. I mean, he's a bitch too. But the Republican strategist on the left, I forget his name. He's like the Jessica Tarkov of fucking CNN. Okay. Scott Jennings. Okay, yeah. He's the guy that they bring on to fucking bully the Republican position or demonstrate the Republican position. And let me tell you something. That motherfucker is so bent right now because there is nothing he can say about this. Like, oh, it's an exaggeration. No, it's not. It's not. How do you prosecute interstate travel for abortion? It's not. It's not even remotely an exaggeration. It's reality. Okay? So good luck. Go ahead. I want to see what he has to say about it. I really want to see how he fucking defends this position. It's a banger ad, by the way. Straight up banger fucking ad. Good stuff overall from the Lincoln Project. Can't believe I'm saying that.
It's against you in a trial. That is the world here. And one thing about it is, we only banned abortions in states like Mississippi for poor people. Because everybody I grew up with in Mississippi who had money and something, they wanted to get an abortion, they would get an abortion. Right. And that is still going to happen. And it is absolutely more impactful on those with lower economic strata. And this is...
They should do one for immigration. Little Chicano daughter coming home from school, okay, excited to see her daddy, and then fucking Bortak agents break through the door with weapons, and they grab her and her dad and the mom and shove her into a black bag them, shove them into a goddamn van alongside the rest of the neighborhood, and then put them in fucking concentration camps and be like, this is the future Republicans want. They say they want to do mass deportation. These are folks just like you and I. They just happen to be, some of them happen to be born on the other side of this fucking border. However, remember, many of them aren't even born on the other side of the border. Many of them are born here, but they're still being deported. Why? Because that's exactly how it worked with the Bracero program. 1.3 million Mexican migrants, migrant workers, and Americans of Mexican descent, American citizens of Mexican descent, were mass deported to random fucking places that they were not from. Donald Trump has routinely advocated for this by name. Operation WB. Shot him an American birth certificate in her file as a portal, grabbed a little girl. Yeah. Of course, no one would make that ad because that would go against Kamala Harris's campaigns.
What has happened? And the idea that we can just sort of say, well, it's just policy, something that people thought was a constitutional right for almost 2 generations has been taken away. And I think it is about liberty, and it is about the heavy hand of government.
Well, okay, to this point, I mean, obviously the Trump campaign, they're already starting to try to maneuver around this reality on abortion. Here's J.D. Vance talking about what Trump would do when it comes to a national abortion ban.
If such a piece of legislation landed on Donald Trump's desk, would he veto it?
Well, I think it'd be very clear he would not support it. I mean, he said that explicitly. Yeah, I mean, if you're not supporting it as the president of the United States, you fundamentally have to veto it.
So he would veto a federal abortion ban?
I think he would. He said that explicitly, that he would.
He's already, by the way.
The follow-up to that is, why should the American people trust you when you say you're going to veto it, when you are also the person responsible for, like when he is the person responsible for the abortion ban to begin with? Why should the American people trust anybody when 3 Republican Supreme Court appointees of Donald Trump openly lied to the American public saying they would not repeal Roe v. Wade? They said it.
We're almost there. You're gonna make it.
Trump Republicans want to criminalize young Alabama women who travel for reproductive care.
Miss, I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle, take a pregnancy test.
Stop them by taking action at righttotravel.org. Campaign for Democracy Group is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Not as good as the other ad. Decent ad regardless. But also, dude.
At righttotravel.org.
This one's creepier. Yeah, also. Look at the fucking blonde, blue-eyed lady. I would have been even more heavy-handed. I would have used a blonde, blue-eyed lady in the other one, too. You know? A white person. 100%. That's a fucking stretch, man. Wait, what? Could a cop actually know if you're traveling out of state to get an abortion? Oh, my God. Yes, dude. Yes. The point is, they stop you for a busted taillight, see that you are traveling out of state, and then they can literally investigate under suspicion that you are traveling out of state to get an abortion, which is illegal. And yes, they do have period tracker apps, for example, that they subpoena. Yeah. That's real, bro. That's how you know this community is so fucking male-oriented, dude. Holy shit. Because women absolutely fucking know this. There is not a single woman under the age of 35 that isn't fucking totally clued in on this shit. Straight up. Men do too, for the record. I'm just, you know. Just so people understand, like, that is why there's such a massive gap between Gen Z women and Gen Z men. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that fucking crazy, chat? Wild that you had to mansplain to that chatter. Dude, that's what I do. I'm a man and I splain shit. Some aspects of that other project, I was going to say Project Veritas. I forget the name of the fucking Lincoln Project. Might be a little bit like far-fetched, but the energy is correct in terms of like how they can monitor certain things.
Campaign for Democracy Group is responsible for the content of this advertising.
My girlfriend and I just moved to the U.S. and she deleted a peer tracker app, specifically Flow, because they sell their data. She's so terrified about it. Even though we are a relatively wealthy white couple, I can only imagine those who aren't as lucky.
Getting criticized by the right for saying that.
I mean, I was at the RNC, and there was some discussion about the platform. There were some changes made in that, and just what language were we going to use, and what was going to be the Republican Party's approach on this issue. And it's obvious. I mean, I have to say, watching that ad, it felt like fan fiction. Like, guys, very heightened dramatization, to say the least. But also, this is the only issue that Harris and the Democratic Party really have that they think they can run on. Every single other issue, they're absolutely going to get destroyed on, whether it's the economy, immigration, foreign policy. The latest polling asked people, do you believe our country's going in on the right track or the wrong track? 67% say wrong track, 27% say right track.
You know what's interesting, just to your point about what Republicans think Harris is vulnerable on? They are spending $74 million over the last 30 days
Golden Cap
on immigration ads attacking her. That
Yeah. GOP using $74 million on immigration, $56 million on crime is down, and only $25 million on inflation. That's so dumb. Oh my God, we are at the precipice of this. The Fourth Reich, baby, is happening.
That's 3 times what they're spending on the economy. I thought the economy
would be the biggest issue.
Would be the big issue.
To their own voters. you know, it's sort of a manifestation of Trump's world. And you saw it in McMaster's book, you know, this competition to flatter Trump. And Trump wants this race to be about immigration. So therefore, if you're working for him, you make ads about immigration. You spend all this money. You're right. You're right.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with that point for one moment here, though, because look at what the Harris campaign is also putting out ads about immigration, using images of the wall, which.
What a major misstep. Such bad instincts. Bad instincts on behalf of Trump to constantly hammer immigration too. But it's so unimaginably stupid that Kamala Harris is not like the only time they should ever be talking about immigration is to be like, what level of Hitlerian policy is appropriate for the Republicans? That should be the only thing they talk about. How do you do mass deportation? 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 Concentration camps.
Which her VP nominee, Governor Walz, says they don't work, but now apparently we want to use those images in our ads. So this is there's definitely a pivot
we have this
on immigration.
We have this extraordinary moment where conservative elements in the United States Congress came together to do a bipartisan bill that really would have secured the border more than it's ever been secured.
Yeah, we've heard people
and
say
Trump
that.
said, don't
do it.
pass
Don't do it, because I want to look like a hero.
This has never happened before.
Yeah.
A bill has never not passed the Congress ever?
But
that a presidential candidate went out and said,
I just want to go back to the fan fiction comment. I think if you talk to women in Idaho or in any of the 30 states that actually now have abortion bans, particularly Texas, it doesn't feel like fan fiction. It doesn't feel like they don't have the government.
God, I fucking despise the song and dance that these fucking idiots play. When people ask me, Hasan, why do you have so many fucking fans? Why do you have so many people watching you? I should show them this video, this conversation on the issue of immigration alone. So many Americans deep down in their hearts understand that this is an unconscionable cruelty to subject everyone to, and yet no one is addressing that talking point at all. No one is even reasoning with that. Even if it is electorally beneficial for the Democrats, they're still not doing it. That's why. Because the things that I'm talking about are not within the confines of acceptable rhetoric. That's it.
Government being overly intrusive, and they don't feel like that they don't have bodily autonomy to make decisions, and it's just the beginning, because and I know that the point that JD Vance was trying to make about Donald Trump vetoing an abortion bill, well, that's nice to say now, but a week after.
But to your point,
yeah, being right wing on immigration worked for Hillary. It will work for Harris too. Being right wing on the military worked for Hillary. It'll work for Harris too. Great.
Fan fiction. He said this, and I think it's great. It's hard to imagine the unimaginable, and I think both parties are doing that. But if you want to talk about fan fiction, listen to Trump at any time talk without anybody fact checking and him making up anything, and you literally weaponizing fear at all times.
It is fan fiction, because no bill banning abortion can or will pass the United States Senate.
It doesn't mean you don't want it to happen.
But the question is, well, would he veto this if it lands on? That is completely fantastical. But you made a passionate case for abortion. And Donald Trump has the exact same position as Ronald Reagan. I'm pro-life. I believe in the 3 exceptions: rape, incest, and life of the mother. And oh, by the way, I am the strongest supporter in the Republican Party for IVF. It is no different than Reagan. And you help Republican candidates win on.
It's so funny because he's like refusing to reckon with the reality in the video that at the top of the hour there's a 3-minute ad break. Like that's literally all the video's talking about, and how you can avoid seeing those ads at the top of the hour. Level 5 complete on the Golden Kappa train. If you didn't get gifted a sub, At this point, you're probably never going to be lucky enough to get gifted a sub. So, you know, just subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime on your own. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. One of these days you're going to forget and I will be the one to get you. Why'd you say that like an anime villain, dude? Jesus Christ. Katie Britt is back at it, pushing a bill to launch a pregnancy tracking federal database.
It's time.
There's no reason to trust the conservatives at all on their messaging on abortion. I mean, there's no reason to trust conservatives. End of quote. Right? But like, especially on this issue, when they have literally lied so consistently. Suck my fucking dick, dude. You're the biggest dumbass on the planet if you believe them. When they say, oh, they're not going to push even further. They're not going to push even further. We pushed hard enough.
On that for your entire career, and now you're offended by it, and I don't understand.
I'll explain it. Give me a chance to explain it to you. Because
Stuart, you get the last word here.
It is the heavy hand of government. It is stuff happening that we never thought would happen. In these states that have banned abortion completely, what it's forcing women to do, 64,000 women have become pregnant by rapists since Dobbs. 64,000.
And Trump believes in the exceptions for rape.